Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So, today was day 3 of our random acts of kindness for Advent, for those of you who are in. And for today, it was just recommended that you buy a colleague or a friend a cup of coffee. And as I suggested in yesterday's video, because I'm always trying to run one video ahead, you could have done anything. You could have made a smoothie. You could have brought a cup of almond milk. You could have given a bottle of water, but just something to tell someone that you're thinking of them. And the beauty of random acts of kindness is that even though you're thinking of the act, the person isn't expecting it. And best of all, there is no consequence. You are not expecting something in return. This is super important because as long as something comes with a price tag, it really isn't a blessing or a random act of kindness. But when you can really just give freely, it frees you up too, because you're not waiting for a thank you. You're not let down when someone doesn't respond properly. You're doing the act of kindness just from your heart. And what they do with it is up to them. So for me, a zillion times, I have given money to people on the street, or I've given them food right out of my lunch kit, whatever I have. And sometimes people will say, well, I can't believe you're going to give them money. I mean, they're going to just spend it on cigarettes and alcohol. And I'm like, I'm a compulsive overeater. I would have spent it on a chocolate cake. I mean, who even knows? I mean, sure, ideally they'll use it in the most proper way, but I don't know what their compulsion is. They don't know what mine is. If I was on the street, I don't know what I would spend it on either. And it's not even the point. The point is the act of kindness. The point is I dare to give of myself to someone I don't know and maybe ease their life. So for me, the joy is in the giving. But we also need to be able to receive. That is for sure. And that's a talk for another day. So for day 4, for all of you who are in on our random acts of kindness, day 4 really is free. Day 4 is simply hold the door open for someone. That's it. You see someone at a store? Hold the door open. You maybe see someone trying to get into their car and they're having trouble? Hold the door for them. You're seeing them struggle with groceries. If it's a comfortable situation, a neighbor, somebody you know, hold the door for them. Hold that screen door so they can get their groceries in. So I'm never talking about violating someone's space, but if it seems appropriate, do it. So yesterday, my husband got his stitches out, which was such a blessing. But as we arrived at Kaiser, I immediately noticed this elderly man, and I joke that I'm 2 years younger than God, but I think he really was. And so there's this really elderly guy, and he has his wife in a wheelchair, and he, probably takes care of her all the time. I mean, she'd hurt her back, and they probably do this, I don't know, all the time, but there's no doubt he was struggling. And she would have been in tremendous pain had we not stepped in. So I immediately said to my husband, let's ask them if we can help. And he was like, oh, and I said, dude, come on. So we did. And the man was grateful. And so was the wife. And we literally I was able to hold the wheelchair in place. They were able to physically lift her and put her in that van. I don't know what happened on the other side when they got home. But for that moment, I held the door. And they were blessed. So see what you can do for that. It's completely free and it's so unexpected. And I'm one of those people who's just a door monitor. I hold the door in the main office. I hold the door in a restaurant. My husband's like, TikTok, Jules. Are we ever going to get through? I'm like, someone let the bus out, man. I don't know where all these people came from. So I'm always happy to hold the door, but it is free and it is joyous. So let me know if you choose to do that tomorrow, Wednesday, the 4th day of Advent, and bringing a little Christmas to somebody's life. All right, but I do have a real talk too. And my talk is on shame, the symptoms and prevention of shame. And it's not about naming and claiming it. It's about recognizing a truth in my life. And my truth is that I tend to be shame-based. That when something goes wrong, I immediately go into myself and say, oh, I'm such a blowout. I can't believe I did that. I know I could have, and I bet it's my fault. And, and of course I've grown so much. I mean, obviously I'm way older and I'm an adult and everything, and I've come a long way. But at my core, I tend to still be shame-based, and it's something I have to work on all the time because it does make me want to hide and isolate. So I wanted to share this really good one. It's by David Nedrick, and it says JD, which to me, JD is Juris Doctorate, which means a lawyer, right? I don't know. Maybe the guy was a lawyer. It's part of Psychology Today, but it's a good one. So it's called Understanding Shame, Symptoms and Prevention. And I'm going to share this with you. Of course, I'll post it as part of the description of this video. And I'd love to know if you can relate. And I hope this can help you out. You might want to read it. And there's actually a YouTube video attached, which I will also indicate in the description of the video, because it's only about 5.5 minutes and it's powerful and it's spoken by the author. All right, so it says, shame can have long-term emotional effects that impede our ability to build the healthy relationship with ourselves that allows us to properly filter and respond to potentially harmful messages and behaviors. So, we have to get ourselves strong first, just like with our food, right? And this is a benefit to self. So it says, in an ideal scenario, we would be instilled from childhood with the necessary means to embrace our deepest, most whole self. However, this is a difficult feat, as society is immersed in a vicious cycle filled with spiritual and emotional disconnect, as well as the transference of oppressive information and perceptions, which warrant psychological rewiring on a fundamental level. That was a lot of rhetoric and stuff, but I'm going to break it down for you, but I completely agree, and you're going to understand why in a moment. So, 3 key elements of shame. 3 important things happen to a person who's been shamed enough so that it becomes the basis of how they relate to the world and to themselves. Even if the people didn't intend to shame me, however I was wired coming out of the womb, I perceived it as shame. I perceived it as me being wrong, being less than, being not enough. Like, was I oversensitive? I don't know. I think with the amount of people in my life, I was just triply subjected in a way many people are not. But it doesn't matter. I'm not blaming my belly button family or anyone else. I'm trying to get tools to get on with who I'm called to be, right? All right. So, number 1, people learn to not trust themselves. Before I even share his example, I'm going to say the reason this was true for me was because as a child, I'd be asked things and I would answer straight up. And I would be told right away that I was wrong and that what I was saying was not true. And I was like, wait, how's it not true? Like, I'm the source. Of course it's true. I just told you what happened. No, you're wrong. That is not how it happened. And that is not what went down. And I'm like, okay. So when you're already from your earliest days doubting what you knew was true in your perception, it's a problem. So listen to what it says. Cinnabean, what's the rule? What is the rule? She knows the rule. Okay, so first, somebody has said something is wrong with you. That's the message that's recorded when a person's shamed. Because they believe something's wrong with them, their tendency is to not look inside for what's right about them. A tendency to not look inside for what's right about and for themselves. They start looking outward. They're not tuned into their feelings. So true. Oh my gosh. Like completely numb and disassociating beyond measure. They're not tuned into their feelings, insights, or their own intelligence. Instead, they look outside. Their attitude is, somebody tell me what's right. Something's obviously wrong with me, so whatever I generate always feels unreliable. For example, let's say you approach me and try to touch me. That might not feel comfortable to me, but since I don't trust myself, I don't pay attention to my natural protective instinct. I don't believe those feelings are accurate to me. Okay. I was one of those people who just had a sign that said, please sexually abuse me. Abuse me at any cost, like seriously. So when people were touching me inappropriately or touching my hair or sitting too close, alarms were going off to the max. But I was like, is this wrong or not? Am I supposed to care or aren't I? Is that person doing that? Perfect example, and I think I shared this in a different context on a different video, but I was sitting at 29 years old. I'm sitting in a movie theater and I'm really still since my earliest days, uncomfortable sitting next to people. And God bless my husband. He will immediately recognize that, and he will sit in between the person and me. And I don't want to come from my little kid, but that little kid is present. And so I'm in a movie theater at 29 years old. It is packed. And who can believe the seat next to me is empty? It's a nightmare for me. But whatever. I'm getting engaged in this drama. And all of a sudden, someone sits down. It's been raining outside, has on a jacket. I'm realizing now it's probably because the idiot wanted to masturbate or something. I don't know. But there he is. So I'm watching the movie, and all of a sudden I'm feeling something come across my lap. But am I? I mean, how's that even possible, right? 29 years old, in a movie theater, in public. No one can be sexually approaching or molesting me, right? So, of course, I resituate myself and get back into the movie. I'm totally engaged in this movie, doubting my instinct, doubting that this person isn't safe. And then, in all my disassociate, totally doubt this isn't happening, this guy's hand is in my crotch. I'm not kidding you. And then I end up, my stronger adult self, oh yeah, nothing's right about this. In the most quiet, dramatic part of the movie, I stand up and scream. Everybody starts laughing their heads off. They think I'm just an obnoxious, nightmare. And this person scuttles down the aisle over everybody in his stupid overcoat. And I'm shaking and can't believe that I'm being sexually abused for the umpteenth time in my life in a movie theater. Okay, anyway, they didn't catch him. And of course, God will catch him, but that's what I mean. So you don't believe the feelings are accurate. Okay, number 2, people compulsively try to fix themselves. And don't take offense to this. It's just an occurrence. So it says if they believe something's wrong with them, then they're inclined to search outside for answers to plaguing issues with self and others through a healer, a guru, a teacher, a friend, a book, a movement. I did many of these things, and I don't regret the information that I received, but I was overly obsessed. I was unfair to need as much as I needed. So it says something that will take them away from who they are, that will change and fix who they are. They're just desperately trying to find that answer, which cannot be found in other things. So people try to cure themselves of themselves. It's not that it's bad to follow teachers and healers or learn something from them. What you glean from experience and information could be beneficial, but the sense that something is wrong with you and that you're getting fixed keeps affirming your belief that you can't help yourself. You never get out of it if you never find the source of your own life force and follow it. And of course, that's internal. Number 3, people fail to protect themselves. When something happens to them or something feels unsafe, they don't trust the feeling that they have, that they're in danger. Instead, they think that they're reading the signals wrong. Because their inner authority and inner compass, so to speak, is not working. They discount whatever is causing them potential harm and are therefore open to being hurt. I will already be sitting down to lunch with the perpetrator before something in me goes, wait, what's wrong with this picture? I'm in danger. Seriously, it's so sad. I've come a little ways. I'm not even going to say a long ways. I've come a little ways. People get into relationships that are hurtful over and over. Rather than saying, this person's hurting me, they say, why do I do the things that make people hurt me? You hear the difference? Let's say that again. Rather than saying this person is hurting me, they say, why do I do things that make people hurt me? What's wrong with me? Why do I have this pattern? Dang it. Why am I so sensitive? They don't think their partner's dangerous. They think their perceived inherent impairment is the reason that they're suffering. Dang it, right? Come on, people. Are you in on that? How often do we say, oh, I can't believe I did it again. I can't, instead of, son of a biscuit. Why are you treating me this way? Why do you think you have a right to do that? Wow. All right. Then again, the fantastic video I said, and finally, preventing shame. And this is the person speaking. When I teach, I offer people what I believe is the number one priority, which is to build and reconnect with their deepest sense of self. Would that it be true. This is what I'm seeking all the time. I've come a long way. And I just ask God to let me keep living long enough to just keep evolving in this way. When people come to me, they are often disconnected from their discernment, the part of them that indicates what's right or wrong, because shame has entered. My mission is to reconnect people with that, so that when someone does something to them, they trust what they feel, see, and know. They need to believe in their thinking and be confident that their mind is good and working well, so they don't discount their intuition. They need to trust their feelings so that they don't ignore that feeling sense, which tells them to be more open or closed, or to move forward or back away. A person that has that connection is more impervious to influences that threaten to move them in directions that are not in their best interest. I so get that. So why don't people trust their inner authority? This is so good. Many of us grow up having our natural impulses run over or vilified. This may happen intermittently or continuously throughout life. If you get frightened, someone says, fear is not a good thing. Get over your fear. Let's do something to calm your fear. Medication, pills, whatever, instead of letting you feel that fear when the only way out is through, right? As opposed to acknowledging that your fear is valid. Or if you get angry, the culture itself has a large anti-anger message that says you shouldn't get angry even though someone did something that hurt you. Anger is a natural response that society tries to discourage. There are many reactions we have that get discredited. For example, you may repeatedly crave something, ice cream. I say, you shouldn't want so much ice cream. It's unhealthy. I will tell you, my mother was a health fanatic when I was a child, to the point of even making our cakes with honey, making our own granola. So insanely so that we would sneak food, that we would steal food from the grocery store, like sweets, that we would hide things the minute we got them. I wonder if there had been a natural balance where we were allowed to have some, if I would not have been so insanely obsessed. I don't regret it because I can share my story and stuff, but it was a bummer. So it says, instead of encouraging you to address your inner authority about the root of the cause of your craving, which would be ideal, right? Hon, why are you eating so much ice cream? It's okay, but what's that temptation about? I had a really bad day at school and kids were so mean to me. Like, what? If we could have talked that out. I disregard it and start to try to educate you from outside. You're no longer internally managing yourself, connecting with yourself, knowing what is right and wrong for yourself. You're being externally managed by someone. And I talk about Tanny Raw all the time. And again, she's a social media phenom on everything health. But what I love about Tanny Raw is she tries to redirect people to trust themselves. She does it all the time. They will say, you're my guru, you're my teacher, you're so amazing, you did it for me, you made my life incredible. She always breathes and says, you know what, you did it yourself. Yes, I had tools to share. I have my story to share, but you did it yourself. And she tries to re-empower people to recognize the steps that they took. And that's what this guy is saying. It's like, you know, if you're being externally, and she'll say, I'm no one's guru. And you know, I'm happy to be on your walk, but I am not going to take that responsibility. Because when we give our power away and believe that somebody else can do it for us, the minute they're gone or don't answer the phone or write back on the email, we're screwed, right? Because we're certain that we're lost. No one can help us. Hello, you're the source, you're the light, you're the strength. Own it. I'm talking to myself, of course. So it says, when that happens for a lifetime, seriously, from the time you were young, and you were acting in certain ways that were met with disapproving comments, you begin to unzip yourself. I love that. I can literally see that. Unzip yourself in a way, meaning you're exposed. You're vulnerable to whatever messages people solicit. You get run over because you don't have that protective mechanism in place, and your inner relationship with yourself isn't solid. Healing shame requires that you connect to the truth of your own experience. We must author our own story and become our own authority. So yes. To be clear, I'm not suggesting that excessive cravings for certain foods, drinks, and substances means we should indulge in all those things. They indicate our deep, unfulfilled desire for things that come up in us, a desire that needs to be investigated, not suppressed or shamed, which I will add into submission. Consider another example. Let's say that you're longing for a relationship. The message you receive from an outside source might be that you shouldn't need a relationship now. You should love yourself before you love other people. There are so many messages being forced upon us. Some of them are good for moments, but they all disconnect us from learning to connect with connect with and follow ourselves. Conclusion. Collective healing is possible, but it can only happen when people are open to the idea that they can believe in their feelings, perceptions, and impulses on a core level. Additionally, when individuals begin to release the perilous energy of dismissing and denying others' experience or blaming them for their reaction, and instead focus on being a healing and loving witness, there will be an influx of self-acceptance and valued connections and relationships, the resolution to some of our deepest troubles and conflicts. Clap, 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 man. I so get that. Oh my goodness. What I have noticed in my entire walk with humans is that they are so hungry for being affirmed, and that they do want to be okay as they are, that they do want to sit in the presence of others in total self-acceptance, that they want to have their story be heard, not critiqued, not fixed even, just heard. Anyway, very cool. Very cool. All right, if you like, join us if you haven't. That was profound. Go for day 4 on that random act of kindness. I would love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Know that I pray for you, that this is a fantastic experience called life, and that you are worthy of just all that you are as you are. And until we talk again, my friends, best of all, know that you're blessed.